Sup guys, just wanted to make a PSA for newer players who maybe aren't quite aware of the different levels of difficulty within a single main campaign stage. First and foremost, there is the threat level system in main campaign, which heavily impacts both the damage that you deal and receive. Compared to the first few times you clear the stage where the threat level is maximum, or red, or colloquially referred to as lethal, once you fully reduce the threat level to 0, or green, or safe, your ships gain a 20% increase in damage dealt, and a 20% reduction in damage received. This modifier works in the same way as level advantage, and essentially reduces the level of the enemies by 10. For details on exact numbers, refer to the wiki pages on threat level, which will be linked in the description. A 20% increase in damage dealt is a bigger difference than the difference between having all plus 10 equipment and all plus 13 equipment. The 20% damage reduction is arguably even more impactful, but it's not as easy to draw a simple parallel to show its effectiveness like the damage bonus. Additionally, in Chapter 15, when the threat level reaches 0, the super carrier nodes no longer spawn, and the mini-boss fights no longer debuff your fleet, making an even bigger difference. When you are looking for setups to use for campaign stages, make sure the fleet that you're referencing is meant to be used at a threat level that you're currently on. A fleet that is optimized for safe clearing at threat level 0 will in most likelihood not be able to handle the same stage on lethal or max threat. A fleet meant for lethal or max threat level will almost certainly be able to handle safe clearing, but it would be way overkill. However, threat level is not the only thing that goes into the variance in the difficulty of stages. Each time you enter a stage, you get a randomized set of nodes. Obviously, the difficulty of each node is not the same. In Chapter 13, 3-star carrier and battleship nodes are significantly more difficult than the rest. For Chapter 14, 2 and 3-star battleship and escort nodes are all quite difficult, but the battleship nodes just slightly more so. In Chapter 15, 3-star battleship nodes are the most difficult by far, followed by probably 2-star battleship nodes and 3-star carrier nodes. The super carrier nodes are not random, so I don't count them. For example, this right here is a potential spawn that you can get in 15.4 safe. Every node here is a 3-star fleet, and 3 of them are battleship nodes. This is another possible spawn, with only 1 3-star battleship node, and 3 2-star escort nodes. The difficulty of clearing the first spawn is on an entire different level compared to the second, despite it supposedly being the same stage. The main takeaway here is that you need to know your exact goal, and then aim for a solution based on what you have that can accomplish said goal. For example, I posted a video of an auto-clear of 15.3 on max threat with no URs when the chapter first came out. I did not cherry-pick the spawns or anything, which you can verify in the footage, but this fleet would by no means be able to clear every iteration of the stage, or even clear this exact iteration every single time. I simply wanted to show that if you wanted to clear the stage without ER ships, or want to use some of the ships you like, which may not be the strongest, it is definitely possible. It's also obviously not the only possible fleet that can make these ships work, and if you substitute some of these ships with others, the fleet would still be able to clear quite easily. Unfortunately, many are just looking for fleets they can copy-paste without any context, so when they see this, they try to copy the fleet, and unsurprisingly, it doesn't pan out as they would expect in practice. Another example is this fleet here, meant for consistently auto-searching 15.4 safe. As with all the auto-search fleet ideas that I put out, I never actually put the run on auto-search. This is again because not every auto-search run is the same. You can run into 5 3-star battleship nodes in a row, including the out-of-ammo fight, or you could run into 5 2-star escort nodes instead, and both would qualify as auto-search. However, I assume that people are not looking for a fleet that can clear the stage on auto-search, but rather always be able to clear it so they can just have it going and do something else while farming for Houston 2. Therefore, I always try to fish for a super difficult initial spawn, and even make sure that the out-of-ammo fight is specifically a 3-star battleship node, as that is much more difficult than the rest. This ensures that the fleet should be reasonably equipped to handle even the worst case scenarios on auto search. Once again, you need to have a goal in mind and really just focus on accomplishing said goal. Let's say your goal is to just clear 15-3 in order to progress further in campaign. You do not need the best ships or equipment in order to accomplish that goal. Whether you cleared the stage with the most difficult set of spawns, like say 5 3-star battleship nodes, or all 2-star escort nodes, it doesn't really matter to the end goal. If you're not seeking recognition from other people, why would you bother to make things harder for yourself instead of getting by with an easier spawn? Let's say you're trying to 3-star the stage instead. Do you want to 3-star it for completion, or are you trying to show off to people? If you're just doing it for completion's sake, there's no reason not to at least get the stage down to safe before you attempt it, and then put some consideration into the spawn you get as well. But if you just want to do it on lethal for a challenge, and even fish for the hardest possible route, that's fine too. Just don't ask people to hold your hand when you put arbitrary restrictions for your own ego's sake. If you want a challenge, you could at least try to figure it out for yourself. One final example, if your goal is to obtain Houston 2, do you really need an auto search fleet that always works? Not really. You just need a fleet that can clear easy to moderate difficulty spawn iterations of 15-4, and that should be good enough. If you don't auto search, you can still get Houston 2, but the barrier for farming the stage will be much lower. I'm not telling you to play manual, by the way. Just picking the fights, but autoing them is still going to be miles easier than auto search. You could even specialize your fleet around escort and carrier nodes and avoid the battleship nodes altogether, which was a strategy used by some during the very early days of Chapter 14 to farm New Orleans. Alright, to summarize, focus on your goal, note the threat level and nodes picked when looking at sample fleets, and go have fun. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.